the way, who had seen this film before?
Me.
Just Kyle. And me, obviously.
No, I've never seen it.
I see what Kyle kept mentioning it. What's that film? And is it like Ben Stiller and that? And they try to like rob a bank or something. And I always I thought it was that he was talking about. I could never understand his desperation to watch that. Like,
well, this was not
I've no
the
idea.
heist or something like that. I don't know what it was. I was like, I could never understand the desperation to watch that film. I thought it was.
Were you bitterly disappointed when it was a martial arts movie?
I was a bit disappointed when Ben Stiller was in it at first.
If Ben Stiller popped up in the middle of this fucking high tower building, that would have been good. Well, this wasn't my original choice to watch. Obviously, the joys of us picking a movie so far in advance is sometimes we'll lose them from the streaming services. So V for Vendetta was sadly popped out and replaced at the very last minute, obviously. I literally just clicked onto Sky, clicked down to the recommended movies, and the raid popped up there, and I thought, you know what, that'll do, stick that in, because we're obviously needing a movie picked. And it took me fucking long enough to pick my movies earlier, so it did have a snap judgment for this, which is a movie called The Raid, which was my pick, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I think this is a quality movie. But before we go into that, we will say welcome into another episode of Morons Reviewing Movies. Just a bit fucked up our names here. I feel nervous talking about my film because I feel like it's ready to get pounced on. Just after, off the back of Hunter's scene pit getting demolished, I feel like I'm just getting myself set up.
Sean's
actually left the chat. He's actually off of it.
Sorry you don't speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun! You fucking moron!
Dressed up like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron?
Ah! You moron! Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons!
Stepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron! Hey, moron!
Warzone is calling. Sean's had enough.
I always feel like, Kyle, see when there's like a martial arts style movie, you somehow take it personally because I think deep down you see yourself as a martial artist, which is funny to me. But like,
but you are a martial artist, aren't you?
Oh, aye.
Yeah, well, like to say so. But thanks for pointing it out.
What's Taekwondo like?
I know, of course, it is a martial art. These films.
So he doesn't see himself as a martial artist. He is a martial artist.
I go put pajamas on now. Like he's all see me about
a basketball film.
If I can squeeze into it.
I'm not saying he's a fucking brown belt at jiu-jitsu or that, but he isn't.
He's a black belt at Taekwondo.
Yeah, but jiu-jitsu's harder, is it though?
No.
It's a different type of thing. It's grappling, I suppose.
Listen, and if we're going to put the record straight here, there's actually 3 black belts in Taekwondo I've got. Let's just roll that out there.
This is where the shit.
Is that because you put the beef on though?
Putting extra holes in it.
Yeah. Belts attached.
This is what bothers me about this stuff as well. The black belt's meant to be the best. Right? You've got your black belt, and you're but I'm a 4 times black belt. What the fuck? Like, black belt's a black belt, no? Is that not the best?
Different levels there, different reasons why you go up the black belts.
So it's different ways to keep getting those mothers to keep paying the money for their kids to keep going to your stupid class. Is that what it is?
Well, yeah. Once you get your black belts, you're pretty much ingrained to pay an absolute fucking fortune to keep them. That's for sure.
Scheme is what it is. Anyway, that's enough pulling Taekwondo. Sorry, Kyle.
just shit all everything I've done for 30 odd years or something like that.
No, so the point I was trying to get to was, though, I feel like you, deep down, like you represent these films. You love these films. You want them to be like good. Like when we watched Warrior, you loved it with all your heart because you see yourself as like a fighter. Kyle the fighter.
Well, I think when it comes to the Raid, right, I feel like this is probably one of the better. Like, I know martial arts films are typically shit, but I like them, right? And it's one of those popcorn things that I love. There's a movie called The Best of the Best, which is awful, right? But I love it because it is an actual Taekwondo movie. It's got like Eric Roberts and stuff in it. It's like proper shit actors. And it's awful to watch. And I would never recommend it for anyone else to watch other than myself. Other ones like, I don't know if have you ever seen American Ninja? That's how bad it is. Nobody's even heard of it, right? And again, great movie. It's all around that like Chuck Norris era of films as well.
I've seen Bloodsport. That's one of that's a classic martial arts film. Maybe Bloodsport.
Huh?
It's a decent. Quite like that one.
Would you class Kill Bill as a martial arts movie? No, really.
Nah, I'd say it's got little nods to martial arts.
Like samurai in that. Eh?
I'd say it's more that Quentin Tarantino likes martial arts movies, so he's put like
his own
elements. Aye.
Well, talking about The Raid, I think that The Raid is probably one of the more interesting stories when it comes to it, and it's been copied in movies like Dread, where they've got the same kind of concept where you'd come into a big building that's been run by drug dealers. You go to the top to get someone, and obviously there's an underlying story about it being one of the cops' brothers and that he wants to get him out. But I just feel like for this one, it's definitely an exciting movie to watch for me. I love all the fighting scenes. It's very if I'm watching like a Fast and the Furious, when the car chases and all that that's when I pull out my phone and I put the FIFA on that one because I'm not really interested. But as this one, I can sit and give it my full attention, and I think that the fighting scenes are done really well. I was watching it today, thinking of you guys watching it, that it'll just be some over the top, ridiculous fighting that would never happen in the way that it does. Which, watching it today, when I watched it, I was like, oh shit! There's some scenes where like they're going head to head with one of the little henchmen that's got no part in the story whatsoever, and they're fighting for 10 solid minutes, and then they should have easily levered them or something. And I just watched it thinking, I'm going to get this shit all over.
I'm just going to echo what you said, Kyle. I really enjoyed this. My expectations were pretty low, just kind of, not really based on anything, just the title and then maybe the first. Not the first part, because the first part you kind of see the backstory of the wee guy who is like sort of the main kind of protagonist, and then once it kind of goes to like the raid kind of bits, it looks like it's just going to kind of be like a mad sort of shootout movie. You know what I mean? Like the kind of martial arts elements don't really start until quite a bit in, so it kind of gets less violent as it goes on a wee bit. Do you know what I mean? Rather than more violent, I would say. Mm-hmm. Obviously,
but I suppose the violence is more graphic.
It's more brutal.
It's more one-on-one violence later on rather than like
if it was just going to be like shooting for 2 hours, I just couldn't be arsed with that, and that's what I thought it was going to be initially. So that was kind of why it kind of exceeded my expectations. But
that's what Dread is more like. Dread is this, but with guns rather than actual fighting.
If anything, there's still too many guns in this one. But obviously, if you're going to have the story where a riot squad turns up, they're going to have guns to start off with. But they do try and get the guns off them pretty quickly early on. Like, I was trying to wind Kyle up, but I enjoy this as well. Like,
how many times have you seen it, Daniel?
This will be my third or fourth time watching it. I've never seen the sequel though. I don't know why. I don't think it needs to be repeated and doing the same thing again. But
yeah, when I was kind of having a look for movies, I seen that there was a sequel and it's like 2.5 hours, and I was like, don't know.
The thing with the sequel,
I would watch it.
It's the same actors playing different characters.
Oh really?
Oh, that kind of made me want to watch it now.
I'm intrigued.
So see the guy that plays Mad Dog, who's the guy that fights the brothers in the
guy. He's fantastic.
That whole scene's incredible. He's the main bad guy or one of the main henchmen in the second one as well.
Sounds like, because he's the best character in the film. I think.
Yes.
And they've all got like I did do a wee bit of reading about this, so they've all kind of got that. Is it like what's the Indonesian like equivalent to?
Oh, I don't know what it's called, but it's a Jakartan martial art.
Right, and so they're all like experts in it because there's no way you could fake that, eh? Like.
Aye.
I'm guessing they maybe have like stuntmen for like some of the falls that they take and stuff like that. But fundamentally, they are all doing their own stuff and that. Am I right in saying that?
I believe so. Aye.
It just adds to it. It's just so much more convincing and exciting.
This film makes me think of playing a PlayStation game. So see, sometimes I felt like when I was watching this, and this isn't a negative thing; it's quite a positive thing. But like. It felt like a PlayStation 5 game where you've got to go in and then it goes to a cutscene and now it's like a big battle against the boss. So that was like when the guy and his brother were fighting the wee guy we were talking about. It was like it cuts to a new bit, and then suddenly you're against the superpower guy. It does. I will complain throughout the next 40 minutes or whatever about if you're going to have scenes where you smash people's faces off the concrete, at least make it so like they stumble a bit when they get up or that. Do you know what I mean? Like some of it did stretch it a bit too far.
It was OTT. I said that a few times in my notes. Some of it was OTT.
And I like the OTT where folk were getting their arms snapped, or like getting their throats cut and all that sort of stuff, right? But when the same fight's been going for like 5 minutes and they're getting smashed, and at the end of it, they're not even got a fucking cut in the face, or like there's nothing to show that they've been in this huge brutal fight. That does bother me a wee bit, but apart from that, it is action-packed fun, is what I would call this.
I'm just going to bring the tone right down. This was absolutely dreadful. I hated this from start to finish. Like, I was going to say, last week, you said to Hunter that his picks are worst. You do some job that you manage to pick a worst film every time you pick a film, Kyle. I don't know how you do it. But everything, I don't think this is the worst film that you've picked for us by far. Awful. Give me a car chase any day that we consider this. Like,
no. Why though? Why was it awful?
So, like, it was far. There was just. I'm not into just fighting. Far too graphic guns. Even though there wasn't guns a full time, I take that point on board. If there was guns, I would have to ask if we could take it like a minus score or something, because it's obviously not going to get a high score for me at all. I think obviously it doesn't. I don't think it would have made me enjoy it any extra if it wasn't subtitles, because even when I was reading that, I was trying to get. I thought at least that might give me some time away from just all the fighting and scrapping the full time. Whereas that didn't help whatsoever either. Like, I had no interest in the storyline. Thought it was poorly written for all the characters apart from the guy who's like the person that's in charge of the drug lord kind of cartel or whatever you want to call it. I thought he was quite good when he was on the screen. Obviously doesn't get involved with any of the fighting and that, but I thought he was like, as an actor, he seemed as if he was pretty decent, but the rest of them, and when you were saying about how the brother gets involved, how he obviously realizes that one of the people that's the police or whatever's getting is they're going in to do the raid and that. I had no interest that was his brother. Like, it just felt completely flat for me. And like some films I watch, like last week when I watched Don't Worry Darling, is like I end up watching it over 2 sittings, and sometimes I find that's because I'm not enjoying a film that much, but this one I just wanted to get over and done with because it's up there with one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. Wow. I don't understand how anyone can like this at all.
This is why I love doing this, by the way, right? Because last week, Dubs fucking hated every minute of watching that film. And then you see the contrast to how Dubs enjoyed this one, and Bonzi fucking hating every second of watching this one.
But he didn't like the Harry Styles movie, although he kind of said I liked it, and then when I started to make notes, I realised I hated it, so I don't know.
I was going with for the last week. I was originally, when I wrote notes of that, I was giving it about a 2.5, 2.25, and then I got a bit angry actually talking about it and writing notes. Whereas this has just had my anger the full time watching it and taking any notes. Like, I didn't think it was great. I don't think that it was written well at all. Like, it was an hour and a half of just violence. Like, give me something. Didn't just have boys just scrapping with each other, taking guns out. They tried to do a wee bit of storyline, but the storyline that they did do about the brother part and kind of what else there was, the only bit which I was going to actually question, which was why does the lieutenant at the end shoot the guy that he's in the room with? You know, when he's taking, obviously, the lieutenant takes the guy who's like in charge of it all. He's taking him to say, I'm going to let you outside. He turns around and shoots his colleague. What does he do that for?
So you kind of missed a vital part of the story there.
The old guy's a dirty cop, basically.
Yeah.
But that twist to me didn't really land because I knew that was coming.
It was obvious.
It was obvious because they'd mentioned that he was dirty for the start, but pretty much.
Well, they did make a comment about how he'd said that nobody else knew that they were going in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's basically obviously been involved with the drugs in the background. They didn't go into like what his level is, but he's went in there to probably to kill or take the main bad guy, and it's obviously all going wrong for him as it goes on. And the Rama, the main guy who's there to rescue his brother at the same time. It's kind of two stories within it. But I get what you're saying. It's not the best written movie because it is just to showcase mad violence and martial arts, really.
And actually, I don't care about. You know, what I mean, I don't care about. And a point that you made, I think it was Daniel as well, is like some of it is really graphic. When like I didn't even think of the part, which I'm not going to complain about this part. But when you said about how when they're getting injured and then they just sort of jump up, that didn't even cross my mind. But it was like some of the stuff was just way too graphic for me as well, and it was like I was finding at stages like I was having to turn away from the screen because I was like, this is revolting.
This is like AEW versus WWE. Do you mean you like WWE because you like the stories and the
sanitized?
But then death matches and that and AEW, that's what the difference.
I don't know. I think there's probably way more violent graphic. Like I watched Bad Lieutenant. That is a really horrible movie. Like that I watched the other night. Compared to this, I thought it was just kind of like an enjoyable sort of ride. And I thought that a lot of the fighting was quite clever. Although I take what you're saying about it's not really that well written. A lot of the choreography and within the fighting and all that was quite
that's
clever
what this is all about.
and interesting. Like it was some of it was sloppy as well. It wasn't like perfect or anything like that, which is semi-realistic. Obviously, some of the things that they were doing wasn't that realistic, but within that, I found some of it interesting. Like when the guy like falls out a window and he comes back in another flat. And then just front door, stuff like that, and then there's a guy gets speared out a window and all that. It's just like things like that I found really fun.
I think for me, it's like if they'd actually done any film that's written in a similar way in terms of 90 minutes of just fighting guns or whatever, I'm always going to shit over it. It's just, I just find it awful, basically. But if they did some sort of like build up to, I know there's a bit where in the van before they go in and all that kind of stuff. It's also over within 5-10 minutes or something. Like if they gave you like a background of what had been going on, say before, to make them want to get investigated, or they could have given you a understanding of the cop. They could let you know that there was people that were in the cops that were involved in it as well, or not. But give us
just get to the fucking fighting. It's fine.
For an hour and a half.
I think the only point of that scene where they were in the kind of van before it was they were kind of building up like the guy at the start was like a rookie and all that, and then it turns out obviously he's like he's the toughest out of the lot of them, and obviously one of the guys was really like kind of condescending to him, and it ended up he rescued him.
I
liked the bit where they were behind the wall as well. Like
I was going to say that.
I really enjoyed that bit. I thought it was kind of like it had like almost like horror elements, that bit. You know what I mean? They guys that were going about with the big machete type things, they were almost like kind of zombie-like kind of qualities a wee bit, I thought.
Because I think obviously all the folk in the building are on different types of drugs, so I do think that some of them are just like that zombie mindset violence.
Whatever it was, I felt like it worked.
One scene that stands out for me though that doesn't even have the fighting aspect that I love about this is when the main bad guy is executing those people in his room, and he's got them on their knees and they're all lined up, and he just nonchalantly walks by one slowly, and you watch the actors and you see the panic and the stress kicking into him as he's going down the line, and then for him to have no bullets left and then resting the gun on that boy's shoulder.
It was absolutely horrible, wasn't it?
Oh, can you imagine being in that situation though, being that person like, shit, okay, the bullet's not wet, but there's a gun and I can see it, and I'm watching him go and come back with a hammer. Like,
I know. I also like the way that again, this was in the kind of van scene where they were building up the guy and then his two sort of main henchmen. One of them's the brains of the operation, and the other one's like really tough. And then when you seen them, they were just kind of like they seemed like dweebs almost. Like, you know what I mean? Just the way they were dressed and all that. They didn't really look like threatening at all. And then obviously you seen them just executing folk.
And what I liked about those two is, like, see when they get sent off, you see the confidence and the arrogance they've got with their walking because they're obviously confident in their ability and they're just going to go out and have a big scrap for it. I want to bring in Hunter or Sean. They've not really said anything at all on this. Who wants to go first?
I'll jump in. All right. I'm not going to go as hard as Bumsy, but I'm leaning towards that side of the fence. It's, again, the scene that you talked, the Dubs mentioned a couple of minutes ago, the bit when they're in the cupboard, you see when the knife goes across his face.
Mm-hmm.
The tension and
in the cupboard.
I mean, the cupboard, right?
In a cupboard just wouldn't have been anywhere near as interesting.
I did enjoy.
Are you sure they're not here? Yes, they're definitely not here. What about that cupboard that there's like the doors aren't even shut right, and there's like two guys like mumbling.
Somebody's sticking at the bottom of it and that.
Oh,
the cupboard raid.
Cupboard raid.
So I then I go get my biscuits later.
Aye, that's what I do at midnight.
I said in that scene, like the tension build up, and obviously you're still willing them to get out, but you're wanting them to get forward, and that's great. And I think there was some aspects of it when you stripped back the violence a little bit and let the performance shine through. You get enjoyable at times, but for me, kind of similar to Bumsy, it was just a bit too much kicking and punching. I mean, it's just not my cup of tea. And it's not saying it's making the film shite. It's just I didn't enjoy it as much as others.
Half of the film of you as well, just going to watch a UFC fight or something. It was just like constant fighting with no reason to it. Like what?
They didn't fight in the UFC, Bumsy. That's the difference. They'd just be lying in the flare cuddling for 25 minutes.
Oh, you've just got Sean's got a wee bit further down.
Okay, I've said that one of shit. Sean's going to take another point off it.
You can't take a point.
I bet Sean hate. I bet.
Oh, I fucking.
I was going to say, I bet Sean hate this.
It's because he's had to read.
No, actually, just the exact same as Bumsy. I just hated this from start to finish. It was just like constant like fight scene after fight scene after fight scene. You then because a wee 2-minute break, and then there's another big fight scene. There's more blood. I was a bit surprised. I can't remember who said that about how like the violence kind of seemed to kind of ease off as the film went on. Like in one of the towards the end where they kind of the two boys fighting that was it Mad Dog or something, the boy with the long hair.
Yeah.
The big like they got a broken light bulb and basically like put it right along his neck. Like that was absolutely disgusting.
And it did nothing to him. He just got up and carried on. By the way, it was.
And also the guy
effect.
who was chained to the ceiling, who was getting like constantly fucking these fast punches to the kidneys. It must have took about 40 of them. When they took the chain off him and he went down, he helped him up, and then they just helped him fight. Like you would be absolutely float. Like it was just really, really stupid. And the fight scenes themselves, they're just so over the top. Like just like all these like flying kicks, like just perfect. Oh, look, I'll deal with this guy. I'll batter this guy. Then when I turn around, there's going to be a guy coming towards me. Where are all these other guys when you're like, if you're fighting 10 guys, right? Which there was a couple of scenarios in the film where it was basically one guy going down a corridor just fighting one person after another. Did these boys just stand and watch you beat fuck at their pal, and then he's in trouble? I'll walk towards him one at a time, and then he can deal with me. It was like a conveyor belt of baddies for this one guy. I thought it was absolutely shite.
It's like in the wrestling when there's like 6 folk in a ring, and then one person comes out and just takes them out one by one by one.
It's almost as if it's scripted and not real life.
It's like it's like when you fight the boss guy at the end of a level like Streets of Rage, where he's at the back, but he's got all his 40 other folk in front that you've got to beat to get to him.
Streets of Rage is a great point. Like I mentioned earlier on, this felt like a video game, and that's genuinely what it's like to me. The folk that made this, it feels like they were big wrestling fans and big fucking PlayStation fans, and that's what it feels like. And I almost feel like there has been a game just like this. Was it Streets of Rage 2 where you went up in a lift?
Yeah.
On the different floors and fought? Yeah. That is very, very similar to that. It does feel like you go up a level.
That's the first one as well. I'm sure.
Is it the first one as well? I can't remember.
If you do something wrong at one point, you get put back down the
back
floor.
To the bottom. Yeah. Aye. So it did make me think of that, and I think that's quite a cool aesthetic. I knew that Sean and Burnsy were going to fucking hate this. I assumed Hunter was going to like it either. I also thought you wouldn't like it either, Dubs, to be fair. But I think if
We've not really done. I can't really think of any movies that we've done since I've been on that have been like this.
No, it's a very unique film, I think.
Aye, and like I say, the fact that it wasn't just like shootouts all the time and that was when I kind of sort of got into it more. You know what I mean? I can appreciate what goes in. And the fact that they were like authentic. You knew that before even reading up on it, for me anyway.
Yeah. No, definitely. Like, I think you take this for what it is. It's a good example of what you can do in a martial arts fight scene, I suppose, to be. And I'm not the hugest fan of this. I couldn't sit and watch another 10 films that are similar to this, right? But I think in some genres, there's always just like that standout one or two films that are just amazing. And I think this is one of those, because I've watched other random martial art films that folk have told me are brilliant, like Tony Jaa movies with like Ong Bak and all that. And folk told me this is the most amazing thing you'll ever watch, and I watched it and it was shite. But it's why? It's because it's because it wasn't fun. Whereas I felt like this was fun. Like it could have had a wee bit. I'm just still going to get. There's a lot of things that bothered me about it. It could have had a better structure to it. I would have quite liked to have seen much more distinction between the floors, and like you kind of knew where they were. Because I'll be honest, at most points through the film, I didn't know if they were on the second floor, 20th floor, halfway up, halfway down. Like, do you know what I mean? It was never clear if they were making progress or not, up or down, I don't think. No. So a few things like that might have helped folk like Burnsy enjoy it a wee bit more, because it might have had a coherent path that it was going on. But nah, man, this is just a big fun fight.
Fun's definitely not what I'd use to describe it, so you can take that out of your mouth.
Take it out of my mouth, oh my god.
And Daniel, that comment you said there about this being one of the higher echelons of this type of genre is where it sits for me, and it's the type of movie that I like to watch. And this is where you mentioned earlier as well about the joys of us talking about it. Is I'm not asked about a romantic comedy, but Burnsy fires these up as 5 out of 5s.
Yeah.
This isn't a 5 out of 5 for me, but it's definitely a high scoring movie because I've watched this numerous amounts of time, and I could watch it a couple more times. It's not a long movie. The violence I like. I like the bit with Sean mentioned as well, where he takes the glass and cuts his throat. I turn away from that part, but it's exciting. It's dead over the top. The knifing people in their legs and then dragging it down to their knees and stuff. I couldn't imagine the pain that you would get from that, and that's the part that makes that different and unique to me. It's not just loads of bullets going into somebody's head. Because I think the only other ones I can comparison to it are like John Wick movies are overly violent movies.
It's like John.
But John Wick's not really got much of a storyline. Although, if somebody killed my dog, I would go out and do a whole John Wick rant. But John Wick's got loads of unrealistic choreographed fighting that's fun and enjoyable to watch. 2, 3, 4, and I don't know if there's a fifth one now, but they get worse and worse and worse as it goes on, where they try to put a story into it. Just let somebody run about, shoot, fight, kill each other, have a bit of a laugh and fun for an hour and a half.
This has definitely influenced John Wick, and other similar things like it. What was that other one I watched recently that had your guy for Better Call Saul in it? Nobody.
Yeah.
Bob Odenkirk.
Bob Odenkirk, that's your man. Have you seen that? No.
Yep. Very good movie.
Did we not do that film?
You should watch it. No.
I thought we had.
No, it's definitely not been done on here, but I watched it myself. But again, I think that's similar in the same sense, Sean. Like what you were saying is that there's a fight scene and one guy will run towards him, he'll batter him, then another guy comes through over there and he batters him, and then he'll jump between the two, and then everyone attacks him one at a time. But that's been every fight scene in every film since the existence of films, so it doesn't bother me. Like I'm used to it
just
now.
I think with this particular film, it was just the frequency of those fight scenes. Like you mentioned John Wick and that Nobody there. I don't ever remember feeling overwhelmed by just watching what was just fight scene after fight scene after fight scene.
This definitely is the most extreme example of I would say that I've watched. I'm sure there's other films that have got even more fight scenes in them, but this did feel like just. I think Dubs mentioned earlier on, it was like an example of look at what we can do. Like how the choreography is amazing, and like it's obviously genuine skill that they've all got. It's almost like a showcase for whatever that martial art is that it's called. But is this the same? See the wee guy that we were talking about, Mad Dog or whatever like that.
Yeah.
His name was. Did anyone else think about our basketball joke from the Philippines when he came on? No,
No, but
that was what I thought.
It's Indonesia.
But
I mean, there isn't much more to say about this, but there's one thing I was going to ask you. So, Netflix have bought the rights to make this a Hollywood movie. This was announced January 2022 that this.
I thought this was a hypothetical question. You've just ruined my night now.
Hunter looked all excited. He was like, "I'm waiting. Where's this question going?"
Well, the question to me is, who would you cast as the main fighter and potentially the two?
What do you mean they're going to do a remake of it?
So there is an American-style remake coming of this movie. I'll tell you who's linked to direct it after you have casted. Who you would do is your.
Who
your
directed the original? It's no an Indonesian guy, is it?
No, he's a Welsh guy that did this.
Aye, I know. I found that obscure, eh?
Big Welsh Dave.
Big Welsh Dave.
Welsh Dave. He's a big fan of TNS. That's where I heard about him. But who would you have? Who would you cast in it? And I'll tell you who was linked to be casted as the main for it.
Michael J. White.
Michael J. White.
I was being genuine with that guess. I thought he'd be one of the folk in it. Steven Seagal should be the main bad guy. Can you imagine him? Imagine Steven Seagal being the one going along and executing them on and getting the hammer.
He'd be knackered by the time he walked to get his hammer.
Oh man, what a big sweaty mess.
Watching Steven. So go back to martial arts movies and that. When I was young, I used to love watching Steven Seagal movies. See, watching stuff like that now, where he walks up and he fucking moves his pinky over your shoulder and you do 14 backflips. Fuck. Give me this over that any day.
There's a bit in one of the Seagal films where a guy puts a gun to his face, right? And he sees the bullet coming. I remember, I think I was in a pub watching that, and it happened, and everybody was fucking rolling about the floor laughing.
You know what's so funny?
That
movie's called
embarrassing.
That movie's called Cradle to the Grave, and it's with DMX in it.
Yeah, DMX is in it. That's right. I might
they're stealing his car, and he walks across, and he's like, "Do you not want these?" And he's got the keys, and that's when he drops and puts a hand up and kicks the boy in the header shot.
Oh, he's an embarrassment, the guy.
Seagal, and he's horrible as well, as he knows. Or no, like.
He's definitely.
I watched
a guest on Epstein Island, definitely.
But he just like seems like a big fraud. But I always see interviews with him where he's always saying all these other actors are pussies and he would batter them all and that. But he just seems like a big fucking goofy cunt, Steven Seagal. But who's going to be in this film?
So linked to it originally is Chris and Liam Hemsworth.
I mean, the issue you've got, and this is again going back to the point Doug was made, right? The reason this works, and also probably the reason it doesn't work for the folk that don't like it, is that it's an excellent example of excellent martial arts. Aye. So if you get two actors that aren't the martial artists to come in and do it, then it's instantly going to be shite.
Yeah, so, two big like buff guys.
Aye,
that's just not going to work. Well, they'll no fit in the cupboard for a start.
Exactly.
Well, other people liked it as Taylor Klitsch.
Don't know who that is.
The guy who plays John Carter.
Who's John Carter?
John Carter was like a big failed like hero fucking Hercules style movie. But he's in other movies like
Friday Night Lights back in the day as well.
There you go. Lone Survivor. He's in Lone Survivor. He's just a handsome American actor. And Frank Grillo is he who gets linked to every martial art movie going.
Aye.
But the name for directing it, sorry, is either going to be director or producer, Michael Bay.
There'll probably be a few more explosions in it then, eh? Michael Bay likes things to explode. Fucking, his movies are the worst type of thing for me. Like, see, just like slow motion explosions. See how like Burnsy, you were saying you hated fight scene after fight scene. Like a Michael Bay film's my example of that. Just like car chase, then explosion, then gunshot, then car chase, then explosion, then gunshots. Like, oh.
What does Michael Bay do? I've not even heard them before.
I have Transformers, fucking all that pish. Bad Boys. Aye.
Oh, I did Bad Boys. I quite like Bad Boys.
Oh no, Ugh. Will Smith gives me the creeps, and
Oh, no, obviously now, I know that now, but I can watch Bad Boys.
How does a free case of beer sound from the Citizen Kane of craft beer subscriptions? There's nothing better than enjoying a great movie with a great beer, and our pals at Beer 52 are offering you a free case of beer to do just that. Simply go to www.beer52.com/morons. That's beer52.com/MORONS. And all you have to do is cover the meagre postage of £5.95 to claim your free case of 8 unique craft beers. Beer 52 is the biggest beer club in the world. Each month their beer experts carefully curate a case of incredible beers from a different part of the world for their members to enjoy. This week I had the pleasure of enjoying the beers that came from Chile, a section of beers that I would never have picked if I'd seen them in any supermarket, so I was very pleased to try these, and I was very impressed with the choices that I did get, and I'll certainly be purchasing more of these beers. If you would like to try out the beers, like I say, join the link on beer52.com/morons and enjoy. Us morons bid you farewell. Oh, there we go. Do you want to go through some? Hunter, did you have any trivia at all on the raid?
I didn't for this week, I'm afraid.
Well, there isn't much, as you can imagine. There's not much on it there, but the martial art in question is called Pencat Silat, which is an indigenous fighting style of Indonesia. And the main guy, Rama, is named after the person that created that martial art. So a little bit of synergy there for it.
I will say it doesn't look like there's much technique in it. There's a lot of them just like fucking swinging at each other. It does look like it.
It is a bit mental. It says that Gareth Evans, who is the director, originally wanted this to be set in a prison, but didn't get the budget approved to have a prison, so it was set in a building instead.
That's better. I think a prison's been done to death. Like,
yeah,
I've seen that story.
That's pretty much it. It says here, despite the movie's tagline saying it's 30 floors of chaos, the apartment that they're in only has 15 floors.
Well, aye.
That's just ruined.
No, you mentioned. I know. I loved it until then.
So I was going to ask this earlier on. Actually, did someone say they watched this with dubbing, like English dubbing? No.
No.
It's on Netflix with dubbing, isn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't last. I lasted about 10 seconds with that. It was horrendous. I had to put like Indonesian with English subtitles because the dubbing was just horrendous.
That's the only way I can watch a foreign film. I need to have it in the.
Yeah, and a lot of the time, like with this film, the dialogue is not that like interesting or difficult to follow, so you can just kind of scan it and then just watch what's happening.
You see sometimes when you get dubbing as well, like. That's just although it's the same exact thing as someone reading the script, like sometimes they don't convey the emotion of the phrase correct, and it can take away from some certain scenes and stuff like that.
I mind watching Jackie Chan films when I was younger, the older Jackie Chan films, like he made in China. There's one called Who Am I, where it's Jackie Chan's got amnesia and he slides down a building, but they were all dubbed, and it was honestly like a nightmare to try and watch. But I still liked it as a wee guy, but terrible. I thought you were going to say Jackie Chan was the person that was directing the film, by the way, when you were doing your big reveal earlier on. I thought that was going to be the answer. Some
random Welsh guy that's directing Indonesian movies.
The Welsh Jackie Chan, Gareth Evans.
Gareth Evans. There must only be about 6 Welsh names, eh? Like there's Gareth Evans, there's Michael Williams, there's Greg Davies. That's about it.
Bryn. There's lots of Bryns.
Aye, everyone's
very hilly country.
Gavin Thomas, that's a Welsh guy too. Like they just are
Jones.
Welsh cunts.
That's basically the full rugby team you've just named.
6 Joneses.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Say again, Sean.
It's a Gavin and Stacey joke, doesn't matter.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, so we'll slide past the Gavin and Stacey stuff. Which you'll probably think's more interesting than the raid. But I'm looking forward to when I get my next pick. Now that we've all seen the raid 1, we'll do the raid 2. just because Burnsy's shat all over it so much. Your choices are going to be The Raid 2 or Once Upon a Time in America.
That's when I was searching for films last night for ages, and that popped up a few times. I think it's 3 hours 50 or something like that.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
I'm pretty sure the first.
I hated it the first time I watched it, and then I've actually went back and watched it again since, and it was just me and Robin that day, so it took me about 8 hours, so it felt even longer. God.
I'm sure when I very first watched it, it came in a double VHS. Like it was 2 different VHSs.
Yeah, I've had DVDs which had to be watched over 2 separate ones.
Wow.
I think the second Godfather's like that. Sure.
Aye.
Pops up intermission in the middle of when you're watching it.
And think about how quickly things have changed. See now, if you click a button and it's not instantly fucking playing, you're fuming.
Yeah.
So you used to have double VHSs.
Yeah.
Remember when you used to rent like a Blockbuster video and you had to rewind it, and it took fucking ages to rewind.
That was a common courtesy at the time. A polite person would rewind the tape before you take it back into the shop.
Yeah.
Highlighting my week. That was the work.
The shops. Did they not used to charge you if you didn't rewind it too? Like they would put like a
Aye, absolutely. They fucking should. Imagine you turn on, I don't know, the Usual Suspects, and you turn it on, and you see Kevin Spacey dragging his wee leg along, and then he just starts going normally. That ruins the full film.
Do you remember when you would be watching it? You'd be watching a VHS, and it'd just go all staticky, so you had to fast forward it and rewind it, to get it to clean. That just means
there would always be wee bits. What a terrible, awful piece of media VHS tape was, eh? Like
that didn't take off. VHS was really popular. Betamax was just like the worst version, wasn't it?
Apparently, Betamax was actually better, but obviously wasn't backed by the company.
Just keep it to make and sell type thing.
Oh, Betamax, fuck's sake!
Because
when I was wee, right? This is really embarrassing, right? But see, when I was wee, like VHS tapes, I used to like run them along the flare and pretend they were cars. Don't know why.
But that I love that story because it's sort of exposing us for who we all are in our working class upbringings, right?
I used to get in trouble
as a kid. I used to pretend that VHSs were cars because I didn't have actual cars to play with as a kid.
I wasn't. I had everything that I ever wanted, but for some reason I used to do that with like my parents' videos, and they would go fucking mental at me.
I'm pretty sure in our house that I think my dad used to, like, something came out, he would rent it, copy it, and then start printing the copies.
Did you ever used to get? We used to get in good old Camelin where every week or so you'd have somebody would turn up with like a booklet full of video movies written in them, and you would put your order in and you'd get your copy of it.
And the really good folk that did that would they would copy they would actually have the real like DVD inlets that as well. Yeah.
I might once get in as part of my Christmas Aladdin, like the Disney Aladdin on VHS, and halfway through it, it just cut out and went to an episode of Blockbusters for 5 minutes, and then went back to Aladdin again.
I remember when I was 21 and I went to Vegas with a few of our friends, and I had a bunch of DVDs with me. At this point, I took my laptop to watch DVDs in, and one of the DVDs I got was a pirated copy of I don't know what it's called. Is it the X-Men one with Wolverine in it? But it's got Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool in that one.
Origins, Wolverine Origins, terrible.
So, but the copy that I got of that was a unfinished copy. So see all the CGI stuff, you've seen the computer screen CGI, you never actually seen the aeroplane in that, you just seen it as a computer screen aeroplane moving around. And they had like all the wires and all that attached to them when you watched it. It was so weird to watch. Watched the whole film though.
That's cool, I quite like that.
You should never see stuff like that, because it just completely ruins the mystique.
It's when you realise that 99% of it's CGI and no actually filmed anywhere other than one room where they're like just standing on wee pillars and doing their scenes and stuff. It was
quite an interesting thing to mention, because that was why I liked that movie, The Raid, was because a lot of it just seemed like really real. You know what I mean? It wasn't like faked or it wasn't CGI.
I'm really glad that you've said that actually, because it's one of my biggest points is that like practical effects are the best thing in films. Do you know what I mean? Like if you can do something practically and make it look good, then you've absolutely fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
If you can avoid CGI altogether.
Exactly.
Because here's a point actually. There's loads and loads of blood in this film, right? And we watched another film where had loads of blood in it and loads of fight scenes, and it was Blade. Mind Blade. Big difference though. CGI blood and how fucking terrible that looked. Remember how much I complained? Like I was angry.
yeah.
And that's the big difference, say, like how different it will look. There's no need for fucking CGI and blood. Anyway, you want to score this guy, I'll let you score it.
Well, we're ready for scoring. Does anyone got any other comments? Want to shit on this a little bit more? Give it good praise.
I just want to have one more thing about the ending. Why did the brother stay behind at the end? Was that?
Well, he's basically failed his family. He makes the point of talking about how his dad's got this impression of him, and like where he is, he's somebody. He's succeeding in this drug world that he's in.
So he's going to take over.
Going back out into that real world with his dad, isn't it for him? He's going to be back to being a loser again.
Right.
And now he's essentially the main guy now, isn't he?
Aye,
yeah, that's
the way I look at it.
I kind of thought that, but at the same time, the whole point of it was that he said he was going to get him back and stuff, his brother.
But they have that little conversation when he's like,
yeah, I remember that.
I'm doing well here. Like, you think you're doing well? Uniform fits sort of thing.
Exactly. So that conversation, I took it as they both just said, "Look, this is who I am, and that's who you are. I'm a bad bastard. You're a good cunt. But that's it. We're not changing." I mean, Leopard doesn't change his spots and all that.
But bring my nephew to see me at some point.
Confused by that.
Oh, it's another scene he talks about how he's going to be a dad. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll get to the score before I confuse you even more. I'm going to come in with a nice solid 4 for this movie.
Nice
score.
I'll go to Burnsy and get his out of the way.
So mine's is going to be 4 times less than yours, so 0.
That's terrible, man.
It's actually a 1.
I know. I started saying, I'm going to go with it anyway.
4 times less than this.
Burnsy the accountant.
Yeah.
Hunter.
I will actually go for 4 times less with a 1.
Let's just get the shit ones out of the way. Sean.
Right down the middle of Hunter's score, I'm going 0.
Daniel.
I'm not normally one to complain about folks' scores, but I'm not having zeros, man. Fucking hell.
That's
a 3.75 for me for this one.
That was a nice wee boost up because of your complaints.
The zeros have blown my mind, considering that we've got the ones that are down at the bottom.
It was the worst film, one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. What do you think? It's great.
Dubs.
Yeah, I'm going 4 times more than Burnsy, and it's a 3.5.
Right, Burnsy, what does that do to the overall scoring?
Right down the middle, a 2.04.
A 2.04. So this puts this movie absolutely 2.04 puts us bang on with Chicago at 173rd.
Is that Burnsy gave that a 5. That's hilarious.
That's hilarious. 2 films scored exactly the same. Burnsy gave one of them a 5 and one of them a 0.
Just sums up how bad we are at this.
Movies that are on 2.05, just above it, right? So we've got Us, The Crow, JFK, and 300. And then slightly higher than that, we've got Glass Onion and Friends with Benefits.
Aye, this is definitely better than all of those, but I saw this is where this one was going. Like I knew that this would be hated.
I'm actually shocked that 3's actually like it.
It's also just slightly above Back to the Future too.
They do.
I'm shocked that there's so many people that hated this as much. Like I thought, even if you don't like it, you're going to give it a 2 for like the way that it's acted out and the way that the fight scenes go. But
yeah, it's acted out. There wasn't the acting.
What was the 3 lowest scores for Don't Worry, Darling? Then
a 0 from you, 0.5 for Kyle, and a 1.25 joint with me and Daniel. So I've had a great week, a 1.25 and a 0.
So the raid actually got 3. It got 2 zeros and a 1. So it actually, like, on the face of it, it was like it was worse.
It was.
Then Don't Worry, Darling. But because we gave it like 0.5s and upwards, it's kind of boosted it. I'm stunned by that.
That's why I like the way we do things here, because like I was showing
most people hated Don't Worry, Darling more than what they did the raid.
Exactly. But
I'm starting to question my involvement in this. Like,
well, we've got some other movies coming up. Let's see the movies for the next time that we record. Maybe these will up your scores a little bit. We've got Reptile, which I believe is a Hunter pick.
He looks scared.
I completely forgot about it.
Oh, great.
And Daniel, we've got Jurassic Park.
Fucking Jurassic Park, man. Settle in for some nice, well-established enjoyment, because you all know you're going to enjoy it.
What's intriguing me though is the next 2 sets after that. And
that's weird that it's sorry, Kyle. It's weird that it's Reptile and Jurassic Park. That worked out like that.
Brilliant.
Sorry.
Well, I'll be interested to see if we carry on with it. This is too gory and too much blood, because after that we've got Saw.
Well, I was going to say that, but I was like, I didn't want to mention that. But if you think fucking the raid was violent, you're in for a treat.
No, the first Saw's not that violent, like in terms of gore and stuff like that. It's not that bad.
It's way more violent than the raid.
No, I'm with Sean on that one.
100%,
it's more violent than Saw.
It's literally two folk in a basement.
There's a barnstorming review if I've ever heard one.
I'm excited to watch that one. Like, I think that'll be class to talk about.
Has
anyone not seen it?
Me.
Oh dear.
Anyone not saw it?
And Crazy Stupid Love that week.
Oh, that's a nice wee balance.
Was mine Crazy Stupid Love? No.
Yeah.
Must have been. Tell by the title.
Cool. Let's wrap this up here then, guys. Thank you very much for listening, that have stuck with us after you heard that first zero getting announced, probably about 40 minutes ago for Burnsy. You've turned off and you've unfollowed and unsubscribed from the podcast after that. But for those that have stuck around, Dubs is gone to, why not?
I'm questioning it, like.
Maybe we need to start getting the listeners and the Instagram viewers back involved.
I think we should get the vote back soon, because then it's
not.
not
Help me, because I wouldn't have on Hunter's pick.
That list we came up with for this like round, like I wouldn't have wiped my arse with it. Like it's that bad.
Aye, let's bring back the votes and let other people decide, because we're clearly shit at it.
But the problem with the votes is we fucking picked the films going up for votes, so.
Yeah.
But at least it was a bigger, wider.
We should have no involvement.
Aye, so what we did before was we'd find like a category, remember, and then I would get the biggest list of all the films in the category and would go for there. So we'll do that again. I'm happy to do that.
I get the wheel. The wheel of
the wheel. Aye, the wheel.
Oh well, listen. Let's go off and watch Man United get humped. That does bring us to the end of this episode. Thank you very much for listening. As Morons do bid you farewell. Are you glad that's over with Burnsy?
Delighted.
He's just been watching the football for the last fucking half hour anyway.
Watch the football instead of an hour and a half of that nonsense that Kel made us watch.
Sorry I don't speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun! You fucking moron!
Stuff like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron?
You moron! Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons!
Stepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron! Hey, moron!
Bid you farewell and good luck, morons. Bye.